So are you thinking of an electric vehicle, but maybe your charging infrastructure is not there yet? Is maybe the all-new Toyota Prius the better alternative to an electric vehicle for now if you don't have a charging infrastructure nearby or at your home or at your work? We'll find out here together. It's Thomas in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go with this all-new generation. And you can see here this really fluent front hood. It's also quite long, and wow, what an evolution of the Prius. This time it's really about, it's also a beautiful vehicle. It almost has some kind of supercar styling here, especially looking at the front in banana yellow for you here today. I just made it up. Color is not called that way. Kudo, 좋아요, 알림설정, 부탁해요. Interesting also with the contrast in the lower part, however, this one is definitely prone to scratches. Turning indicators in the front defo look fancy, so they get the Thomas design stamp. The length now at 4.60 m or 181 inches. That's not such a big change. A little bit grown in wheelbase actually, if we compare the predecessor. Wheels here 17-inch with winter tires, but you can also get 19-inch wheels then. And together with summer tires, looks even more impressive. You can see here the whole car flatter, wider, stiffer in the chassis, lower center of gravity, also promising a better driving fun. It continues in the side with this supercar-alike look. By the way, also very interesting that the rear door handles are integrated right here. You have them once electric, and if everything would fail, you could also have this manual button pressing in here to open them too. I found very interesting how the light strip kind of like dissolves to the mid part and then goes stronger here again. The rear turning indicators are not as spectacular as the front ones, but overall also a very attractive design here, big Prius lettering. So I think design-wise this vehicle really works, and indeed driving around town and so on, this one here, this new Prius really gets the looks, and this didn't happen so often with other Toyota models. This is the key fob. Hey, at least you get a unique Prius key fob. Then door closing sound is not that good. Toyota has never paid attention to that, honestly. However, inside material upgrade here, this is all soft touch, and it's also not really black but more gray, and I appreciate that. It's something different. Softer for your elbow right here. Yeah, this is more or less all basic, but it works everything. You have simple controls, straightforward, no cover on the inside right here. And then this completely new cockpit. This looks kind of unusual, but I can tell you it works very well in the practical sense. This also accounts for the steering wheel, has a good feel, and manual buttons, for example, for the volume here. Maybe not the best in ergonomic sense, but I'm happy to have real buttons, and also heated steering wheel. And I like this straightforward user interface. Seating comfort is also really good. I've driven this vehicle now about like 1,000 kilometers or 600 miles, especially on the German motorway. And to me it is probably the best Toyota yet on the German Autobahn, from the suspension and also from the seating comfort. Headroom here, by the way, 189, 6'2", a lot left. One thing that needs to be improved, here this armrest, also with nice leather red covering, and it's also soft on, the first side, on first touch. But then when you have your elbow on there and, I have a heavy elbow, like with big bones and stuff, and then actually it's not dampened enough, and it's kind of hard for your elbow, especially when you drive like this for a longer period of time. Interior cockpit overview, here the steering wheel, manual, in and out, up and down. You can find a good position. And yes, the lowest part of the instruments is blocked in by the view. But for me, it's actually fine. So it's just like the part where there's nothing anyway. And you see here the instruments are put up that high that they don't offer a head-up display. So it serves both purposes. And I say it actually works for me. Here on the right side, 8-inch. This one here is the optional 12.3-inch screens, or standard then for the high trim models. This is the wireless CarPlay integration. Android Auto is also available, works very well. You can also use the Toyota internal GPS map. They have worked on their systems and they're also more responsive now. Everything kept rather simple, so most of the time you use the smartphone integration. And here, manual volume jog. Here, simple buttons for heated seat and also cooled seat combination with perforated leather red. Best combination there is. Doesn't work on the parallel, either the one or the other one. And this one also stays again in this last setting when I restart the vehicle. And I also appreciate here the manual climate settings. And we haven't seen much ambient lighting from Toyota, but here there's a very nice integration. In the front, USB-C charging and connection. This one here you can put up, and this then hashtag hidden compartment. Then adaptive cup holders, and this middle console has this shifting gear which has this stairs effect. Yeah, it's not my favorite, but it does the job. And here, at the moment I have the key fob here. This vehicle is not equipped with it, but this would be the place where an inductive charging pad would be. Rear doors also in this grey scheme, also with the structure, but harder than the material itself. In the middle console we have also seat heating for the rear passengers, USB-C charging, and here the legroom. You still have some legroom left right here. Yes, you probably figured by now that I really like our Toyota Banana here today, but that doesn't mean that I don't criticize some points, and something more is coming up here in the trunk. First of all, this electric hatch. Well, that's cool that you have this wide opening, so you have the cool styling on the exterior, but yet again you have like an estate kind use. But then you have this wobbly cover here, and it just looks cheap, you know. The only advantage is when you put something underneath, it's flexible enough that it just stretches above, but sometimes then it, you know, it makes that blop, blop, blop while driving not ideal. Maybe I would take it out then. Then you have some 280 liters. It's really shallow. That's the problem. The width here, this is 1 meter or 40 inches. You can see here to the wheel arch, it's wider, but then it gets more narrow in this respect. And the length here, normal length, is about 80 centimeters or 32 inches. So the trunk in most cases not really that large. Charging cable flies around here. At least the big one. A small one can also be fitted here underneath. And folding the seats, well, you can actually reach over from here if you have long arms, and then you can push that through, and yeah, then you can also load through longer things. As for the engines, 2-liter 4-cylinder, either as inbuilt hybrids, especially important for the Northern American market, 200 horsepower, front-wheel drive or an electric all-wheel drive. And then there's the plug-in hybrid version. This one especially also for the European market. This one here 220 horsepower, so a little bit stronger. Front-wheel drive only, and 6.8 seconds in the acceleration figures. Yeah, and pricing, this is really interesting. In the US, it starts under $30,000. And then, of course, you might think, hey, that's maybe an even more clever choice than going for a more expensive EV, for example, even if you compare it, for example, to a Tesla Model 3. But then if you go like the Prime or plug-in hybrid version, high trim, and looking at, for example, a German price, then you can already, pay over 50,000 euros for this one here. And another flaw is the slow recharging, just one phase up to 3.3 kilowatt AC. Yet again, the battery is not that large, so you'll take about 3.5 hours to fully recharge it. Yeah, and then you have to think about, in most cases, you'll probably charge it at home and then just leave it overnight, then it's also fine. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the Toyota Prius. Listen to the turning indicator. Leah just told me oh, that's a nice turning indicator sound. And I was like, what the hell is this? Sounds weird. So yeah, turning indicator sounds are also definitely a matter of preference. What do you guys think? Good or bad? Tell me in the comments. Driving city traffic and so on, here with the plug-in hybrid or Prime version, is kind of unique because you have it all electric when you have recharged. That's a difference then to the inbuilt hybrid, where you more have these electric moments. So here it makes sense when you can recharge at home. Of course, for most cases then the inbuilt hybrid will be better if you don't have the charging infrastructure yet. Really depends to me, I think, on the charging infrastructure if you go plug-in hybrid or with the inbuilt hybrid. However, what's definitely better here with the plug-in hybrid is when you go for the acceleration, and here we can also select the sport mode. We go from 70 kilometers an hour now, and let's go. It's 120, 130. Yeah, you see, it's not the quickest one, especially when you're already at speed. From standstill, because you have the electric power, that's fine. But the engine is not the most powerful one. You kind of have to live with that. However, with the plug-in hybrid version, you still have better acceleration than with the inbuilt hybrid. This one is more trimmed to efficiency. At the same time, in the driving dynamics and the steering, it feels really, really sporty. That's what I really like. The engine itself is smoother and you have less sound from that. So everything really evolved. And remember, the vehicle is stiffer from the chassis. It's flatter, a little bit wider. So it sits so much better on the road. So the coolest thing I take away, especially if I'm driving German Autobahn, is that it's really so much fun to drive. And it's super, super smooth as well. I like the 17-inch wheel setup. So that way, Toyota doesn't have special adaptive suspension technology or something. So here then it's better to pick the 17-inch wheels together with winter tires. In this case then this is the softest and most comfortable setup. And by that is actually also fine when there are some bumps in the road and so on. I'm not sure if I would go for the 19-inch wheels. It looks cool on the exterior, but then again it also reduces the comfort. Here, adaptive cruise control with active lane keeping assists. This is a very good test here in this motorway corner. Nice and smooth. So I also upgrade the assistance systems with this generation here. Then distance to the car in front of me is being kept. So far that looks actually quite good. So is it a good alternative to an electric vehicle if you don't have proper charging infrastructure yet? Yes, definitely it is. I think so. I think it looks cool. The interior build quality has been upgraded. It's a well-usable car and it drives so well, even at some higher speeds on the German Autobahn. Yes, the noise insulation could be a little bit better than at really high speeds. Overall, it's probably one of the best Toyotas I've driven. And together with their reliability and so on, this really makes sense. So at this moment, this seems to be a better proposal than most other pure electric vehicles from this standpoint. What do you think? Tell me your comments, your opinion there in our comment section. Would you pick a Prius over a Tesla Model 3 or would you go the other way around? Looking forward to that. And also tune in to a Tesla Model 3 review or recently the Toyota RAV4.